Hello, kia ora, g'day, I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast for the first 7 days of July. Let's get into it. We've got this gigantic area of high pressure. I don't know if gigantic is a meteorological term. It should be, because this high is really big. And you might not see it so much here on the Monday map. Wait till you get to Saturday, it gets much bigger. So this high is controlling the weather. It's the reason why it is so much colder over here on the eastern and southeastern corners, but really that cooler air goes all the way from parts of Queensland right across to the upper part of Western Australia. That's the reason why the whole southern areas are cooler, although there is a slight warm up now with a northerly change out here over to the southwest. But the coldest air is over here, and let's explain that a little bit more for you. Here is Tuesday's weather map, taken into the afternoon if you're on the eastern side, and about lunchtime if you're over on the western side. That rain's still heavy at times around parts of Queensland. That is still pushing in and further inland as well. And because of the high pressure zone down here, these showers remain pretty much all week. Plenty of showers for eastern Australia. And in fact, a good way to kind of reset your mind as to where we're at. For those of you who remember the weather pattern back in May, that is what we're looking at again now. And May was defined by a giant area of high pressure down here in the southeast. The one difference is, while this one does linger for about a week to 7 days, it does eventually move off to New Zealand, whereas in May it just sat there for days, and in fact it even went backwards a bit for a time. This one's moving around a little bit like that, but it is, generally speaking, heading its way to New Zealand. So colder weather further down as you get into the southern part of New South Wales, the ACT, Victoria and Tasmania as well, all under that colder ridge of high pressure. Into Wednesday, not a great deal of change. We do have a small area of low pressure forming here. It's not going to do much because it's got high pressure to the east, and yes, that's another high pressure zone just out to the west. So that low will be smothered. And so between all these systems, there's basically just a big easterly wind flow across Australia, very similar to what we saw back in May. Heavy rain at times, basically north of Sydney and just north of Brisbane. Those are the areas likely to get the wet weather. There could be a few thunderstorms in there as well. And then those showers kind of taper off as you go further inland for now, because we've got a bit of the old change coming as we head in towards the weekend. So by Thursday, you'll start to see some of that change forming here. These showers are going to get better organised going into the weekend. There's just going to be a sort of a pool in the atmosphere where these rain showers can all line up through the dry interior. So that's the change that's coming up. It's just starting to build here with these showers forming inland, but these are pretty much caused by a big easterly flow right across the country. Cooler and cloudier and wetter all along the eastern coastline from the top of Queensland all the way down to the bottom part here of Victoria. Tasmania should be mostly settled under that. And then further to the north, the ACT and New South Wales mostly settled along with much of Victoria. South Australia's got those showers starting to form, and it's a bit of a colder airflow as well here pushing along those southern centres of Western Australia. So by Friday, you can see that line of showers now starting to form. When you look at the 7-day rainfall map for Australia, the 7-day departure from normal, this is the area that highlights in blue, because it doesn't take a lot of rain for it to be wetter than usual through these dry central areas. But we do have showers and rain coming through, and that will feed into South Australia. I know you'll be happy about that. The showers carry on in the east here. The downside is Victoria and South Australia missing out on a big chunk of that rain further here over along the borderline between the two states. Into Saturday, more of the heavy rain, thunderstorms coming up through here as well. So this is going to bring some relief all the way from the eastern side of the Northern Territory down into the northern part of South Australia. Elsewhere though, it is Groundhog Day, repetitive, especially along the eastern coastline here. Plenty of showers, plenty of cloud. Doesn't take much to clear that cloud, you just have to get up and over the hills. Once you're inland a wee bit, it should be mostly sunny, but yes, it is a cooler, cloudier, wetter week on the way for many of these eastern areas. And here's the interesting note. As we go through the weekend, this high pressure zone stretches all the way up to Fiji and all the way down to the ice caps. So that is a huge area of high pressure, and we use words like ginormous and massive when the high itself is larger than Australia. It's not often that happens, but a few times a year we do get that. This is the second time or third time this year we've had a really big block of high pressure, but plenty of thunderstorms, heavy downpours through the outback, through these dry interior regions. It's not really so much in the more populated parts of New South Wales, but you do get the risk of some of that wet weather, particularly by Sunday night as it starts to move further along to the east. And yes, that is a cold front, traditional westerly wind coming back in again. Now this high, as I say, next week, it moves further out towards New Zealand, but I still think it's going to impact this eastern side of Australia. That's all from me for today. Our Climate Watch update is out today. This is mostly a New Zealand-based update for the month of July, but because New Zealand's so small, we often do include a big chunk of Australia in it. So if you're interested in seeing the bigger picture, we do cover a fair amount of Australia in that, and our Climate Watch update is also out today. Otherwise, I'll see you again on Thursday for our more extended, detailed 7-day outlook for Australia only. We'll see you then. Have a great week.